There's this idea that if everyone is descended from the entire far enough back population of their ancestral regions, which can be demonstrated to be true through mathematical modeling, that it's therefore of zero significance when any individual has a documented medieval royal descent, or even a much greater than average number of such descents. This fallacy, where a person's genealogical relationship to another person or to a group is reduced, oversimplified, to the binary choice related or not related, is an ideological cousin of the one-drop rule for racial classification, is or isn't, and it acts just the same. This framing is at the heart of the most ineffective responses to the U.S. presidential bloodlines claim. It aligns well with both a naive liberal nationalism that has faith that representation will fix the problem eventually, somehow, and with the traditional conservative reading where it isn't a problem in the first place. This is because the phrase everyone is related, while true, ignores the impact of social class on the density of relatedness and the continued political centrality in the United States of networks of social capital and regular capital that originally formed around the nucleus of the British gentry, even as these networks have shifted toward even more arbitrary constructs like race that were formed around physical resemblance to this gentry and subservience to the capital this gentry stole by capturing governance at home and in the colonies. And oh boy, does that structure benefit from the fascist framing, which persuades people to believe that ruling elite relatedness is an ancient, undefeated, unfalsifiable monster that could only be swept away by different, even less democratic king-like rulers who serve the stolen capital better. But anyway, yeah, part of the answer as to why these royal descents remain influential even when untraceable is their density. 3 different living people can all be descended from, say, William the Conqueror, but one can have 100 distinct lines of ancestry to that king, while the others can have 10,000 or a million. Let's say a million links from William I to George III, 10,000 to George Washington, and 100 to a barely recorded person who was incarcerated from their conception to their shortened life expectancy death on George Washington's forced labor camp at Mount Vernon, or 100 for a random settler farmer named George in its namesake Mount Vernon, Kentucky. Mathematically modelable, but forever lost to history. Why lost? Because the preservation of generation by generation documentation for any particular route is statistically unlikely, but more likely in positions of relatively higher class. When we can uncover the full history of an English or Scottish royal descent, it's going to be an indicator there are many more, same as if you hear the crunch as you step on a fallen acorn. Look up and you'll find an oak tree.